Good morning students. Today we have a lecture on National Nutritional Programs. National Nutritional Programs, or you could even call them Community Nutritional Programs. The Government of India had initiated a large number of such supplementary feeding programs, and all these programs were mainly aimed to overcome certain specific deficiency disorders, and all these were executed or they were started by various ministries to combat malnutrition. So we'll see what these are. Under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, we had three programs, that is for vitamin A, for anemia and iodine deficiency disorders. These programs were known as National Prophylaxis Program for Prevention of Blindness, specifically due to vitamin A deficiency. Then we had National Nutritional Anemia Prophylaxis Program, then the National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program. Then from the Ministry of Social Welfare, we had certain programs, that is the Special Nutritional Program, the Balwadi Nutrition Program, the Integrated Child Development Service Scheme, that is ICDS. Then from the Ministry of Education, we had midday meal program. From Ministry of Human Resource Development, we have midday meal scheme, and from Ministry of Rural Development, we had applied nutritional program. So we'll see all these programs one by one, few in detail and few the most important aspect of these programs. National Prophylaxis Program against nutritional blindness due to vitamin A deficiency. This was launched in 1970 as a centrally sponsored scheme by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. So the component of National Program for Control of Blindness, 1978. So this part, so that is the vitamin A deficiency, was a part of this National Program for Control of Blindness. Okay. So the rationale behind it was that human liver can store vitamin A when consumed in excess of daily requirement, and the stored vitamin A is released when we need it. So based on this, and mainly it was from the concept was from the National Institute of Nutrition, Hyderabad. So they told that we could use this stored vitamin A, and if we could give such large doses of vitamin A, that could help the people or the children to prevent blindness because of vitamin A deficiency. And here the target group were usually all children 1 to 3 years of age, and what was usually planned in this vitamin A deficiency prophylactic program was that mega doses of vitamin A, that is 2 lakh international units, was given orally every 6 months. Again, the dose differed with age. We'll just see the individual. About vitamin A supplementation. So in the 8th 5-year plan, it was the vitamin A supplementation was linked with immunization program. Then in the 10th 5-year plan, it was told that mega doses have to be given twice a year, that is in the pre-summer and the pre-winter periods. In 2006, and it was told that all the children from 6 months to 5 years should be given these vitamin A supplementation. So for prevention of vitamin A, mainly we can think of two strategies, that is the short term strategy and the long term strategy. In short term, it is this administration of vitamin A. Okay, so vitamin A, because it is a it's soluble in oil, that is fat soluble vitamin, so it is given along with oil, and the dose that we have already discussed, it is 2 lakh international units, and again I told you it differs less than 1 year. So 2 lakh international units is for a child above 1 year, and less than 1 year it is 1 lakh international units, and if it's less than 6 months it would be 50,000 units, international units. So this is about the dose. Depending on this, we're going to give the child for his required age that much international units of vitamin A. So moving on to the long-term strategy. Long-term, for any deficiency, especially the nutritional deficiencies, it is the we should have enough of food that is rich in that particular nutrient. So again, for vitamin A it is the same, that is promotion of regular intake of vitamin A rich foods. So in my last class I told you about the different nutrients and the nutritive value. So vitamin A, again we get vitamin A from these yellow colored fruits and vegetables, especially I told you mango, papaya, pumpkin. So all these are rich in vitamin A. And first is to promote intake of vitamin A rich foods. Then we have to concentrate on feeding the population with the locally available food, which is there in their population, or that seasonal fruit whenever available. We need to have these fruits and vegetables. Kitchen gardening of vitamin A rich foods. So this also can be told for long-term strategies. Then about treatment of vitamin A deficiency. So if we find anybody with the signs and symptoms of vitamin A deficiency, so immediately we need to give them 2 lakh international units of vitamin A, followed by another dose of vitamin A on the next day. National Nutritional Anemia Prophylaxis Program. This program was launched during 4th Five-Year Plan, that is in 1970. It was by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and mainly it was for the prevention of nutritional anemia in mothers and children. Now what was the rationale behind this program was that only by food fortification or dietary modifications, there are long-term options, and only by this to bring down the prevalence of anemia in developing countries is not possible. So it was thought that supplementary iron on a daily basis was a must. And the other rationale were that especially in pregnancy in the second and third trimester, only by dietary intake the prevalence of anemia could not be brought down. So again here daily supplementation of iron was a must. And it was noticed that majority of girls were anemic even in their adolescent period. So again here it was thought that even in this age group we need to supplement iron, and it was seen that if folic acid was uh, if there was deficiency of folic acid, then there could be neural tube defects, or the neural tube developmental errors could be there, especially in the first trimester or the first few weeks of pregnancy. So it was thought that iron and folic acid supplementation has to be done. So the beneficiaries are children and mothers. Now the policy that was followed was in mothers, it was 1 tablet of iron and folic acid containing 100 milligrams of elemental iron and zero point 0.5 milligrams of folic acid, and this should be given daily. And this daily administration has to be followed for 2 to 3 months after hemoglobin level has returned to normal, so that we could even replenish the stores of iron. So the next important group, that is in children. Again in children the dosage could be different for different age groups. So what could be done is, if anemia is suspected, a screening test for anemia could be done on infants at 6 months, 1 year and 2 years of age. Then 1 tablet of iron and folic acid containing 20 milligrams of elemental iron and zero point 0.1 milligrams of folic acid had to be given for at least 100 days. Now moving on to the next, important thing, that is for children from 6 months to 60 months. It has iron that is provided, it has to be in a liquid formulation. And especially if you want to take more precautions for safety sake, this liquid formulation was dispensed in bottles so designed that only 1 ml could be dispensed each time. Then for school children, that is 6 years to 10 years, and the adolescent age group are also included in this program. So for this age group, that is 6 years to 10 years, we give iron which has 30 milligrams of elemental iron and 250 micrograms of folic acid per day. Again, this is for 100 days. Now moving on to the adolescent age group, their dosage is similar to the adults. Now, something about these programs, that is prevention of anemia in our country. So in 1991, it was renamed as National Nutritional Anemia Control Program, and the beneficiaries were redefined. It extended to both anemic and non-anemic lactating and expecting mothers and children in the age group of 1 to 5 years. And again, I have just told you about all these dosage, that is again differing, varying from 60 milligrams to 100 milligram of elemental iron, and it was daily. Then IEC activities regarding increased consumption of iron-rich foods was included. Then in 1992, a program was made, this anemia control program was made integral part of CCSM program, that is the Child Safety and Safe Motherhood program. And again, this oral iron supplementation was done along with 1 dose of injection TT. Then the therapeutic dose, that is 2 tablets of Orofol for 100 days. Then in 1997, this program was integrated with RCH. In 2005, this program was integrated with NRHM, that is the National Rural Health Mission. In 2007, new directives were given from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare from Government of India, that is 6 to 12 months infants should be included in this program. And again, I have already told you that usually for under 5 it has to be in liquid formulation, and the children up to 10 years and adolescent age group are also included. So again, the same point, that is for children up to 60 months, that is the liquid formulation, and these are the doses which were already discussed. Then from 6 to 10 years, we could take it in they could take this in tablet form, that is 30 milligrams of iron and 0.25 milligrams of folic acid, or you could take it as 250 micrograms of folic acid per day for 100 days. So folic acid tablets, that is 500 micrograms, is to be given even in pregnancy, that is in the first trimester or in the first 4 weeks. Now again about the weekly iron and folic acid supplementation program for adolescent. So it is even known as WIFS Blue campaign. Again, the nodal agency is Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Here the beneficiaries are adolescent girls and boys enrolled in school, that is from 6 to 12th standard. Adolescent girls not enrolled in school also are included in this program. Now how it was implemented, that is students who are not from school, it was under the social welfare, Ministry of Social Welfare, and students who were there in school, okay, they were under the Ministry of Education. The services that were provided were iron and folic acid was being provided, that is the IFA tablets, iron and folic acid tablet to target population on weekly basis on a fixed day, that is Monday, for 52 weeks. And biannual deworming was done in Feb and August, that is in February and August, deworming was done. Moving on to the next program, that is the National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program. So about this program, that is the National Goiter Control Program, was launched in 1962 at the end of second 5-year plan by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Now, this program mainly focuses on use of iodized salt and to replace the common salt with iodized salt. And this is the most cheapest method to control the iodine deficiency disorders. Again, few other components of it were use of iodized oil injection to those suffering from iodine deficiency disorders and oral administration as prophylaxis to prevent these diseases. Okay, so in case somebody was suffering, iodized oil injection was given, and as a prophylactic method, it was the oral administration, maybe in the form of iodized salt. Now, the rationale for this program was that no state or union territory in India was free from these iodine deficiency disorders. So, by few surveys and all, it was told that no state or union territories in India were free from these diseases. And so, the need for having this iodine deficiency disorder control program was felt. So, this was from the surveys that were carried out. Okay, so when we are telling that the no state or union territories was free from iodine deficiency disorder, it was mainly by these surveys that were carried out by ICMR. Okay, and again, an important finding of these surveys were that iodine. The ICMR said that iodine deficiency, it leads to a spectrum of disorders, mostly affecting the physical and mental development. Okay, so the fact that human brain development is completed by 3 years of age, and if iodine deficiency happens during this early age, it may lead to permanent and irreversible damage. And fortification of salt could that was used in this program as a preventive program, and it could be considered as a vaccine against these iodine deficiency disorders. Okay. Now again about this iodine deficiency disorder control program. So the other points were, in 1983 we had the universal iodization of salt. So it was told that at the manufacture level it has to be 30 ppm, that is parts per mole, and at the consumption level it has to be 15 ppm. So in 1992 this program was renamed as National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program. So what were the objectives were? First, surveys had to be conducted to assess the magnitude of iodine deficiency disorders. Then supply of iodized salt. So once we have assessed the magnitude of the problem and then we have provided a solution, that is supply of iodized salt, then what was told, which is more important, was a resurvey every 5 years to assess impact of the iodized salt and iodine deficiency disorders. Lab monitoring of iodized salt had to be done, and urine iodine excretion also was planned in these or was an objective of the iodine control program. And health education regarding what could be the effect of having uniodized salt. So all that has to be told to the population. Now strategy, mainly it is iodized entire edible salt in the country by 1992, and ban of non-iodized salt under Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, that is in 1954. the Special Nutritional Program. So it was started in 1970 by Ministry of Social Welfare, and the operation was mainly in urban slums, tribal areas and backward rural areas. It was operated under the Minimum Need Program. And the main aim here of this program was to improve the nutritional status of these targeted groups. So in all these population, they mainly plan to improve their nutritional status. Here the beneficiaries were children below 6 years and pregnant and lactating women. The services that were being given in this nutritional program, special nutritional program, were uh, for these preschool children, 300 kilocalories had to be provided and 10 to 12 grams of protein. And for pregnant and lactating mothers, 500 kilocalories had to be given and 25 grams of protein. So this is for that particular day. Okay. So much had to be provided, and a total of 300 days. So this had to be provided for a total of 300 days in a year. But this program now is gradually being merged with the ICDS. The Balwadi Nutritional Program. So the next program is the Balwadi Nutritional Program. So about this program, this was started in 1970 under the Department of Social Welfare through voluntary organizations. So the voluntary organizations were receiving grants and were responsible for running of this program. The beneficiary group were the preschool children, that is in the age group of 3 to 5 years. So services provided under the Balwadi nutrition program were 300 kilocalories had to be given to them for that day and 10 grams of protein, and this had to be provided for at least 270 days in a year. And along with this, they even provided the preschool education. So Balwadis are slowly being phased out because of universalization of the ICDS. ICDS. I told you it is the Integrated Child Development Scheme. Now this was started in October, or it was initiated on October 2nd, 1975 in 33 CD blocks under the 5th 5-year plan. About this, I want to tell you that ICDS is a very important program, and again in detail it will be dealt. So I would just tell you in short about the ICDS program, and it will be taken again. So the other important thing is it was under the Ministry of Social Welfare, and the objectives again were in succession to the National Children's Policy. Then another important point about ICDS is it is the world's largest program for early childhood development. It is a centrally sponsored scheme implemented by the state and union territory government. The rationale was routine MCH services were not reaching the target population. The nutritional component was not covered by these health services, and need for community participation was also felt. So this with these important things, the ICDS came up. The objectives were to lay the foundation for proper psychological, physical and social development of a child, to improve nutritional and health status of children, to reduce the incidence of mortality, morbidity, malnutrition and school dropouts, to enhance the capability of mother and family, to achieve effective coordination among various departments. So with all these objectives, especially to reduce the malnutrition and many other things, so this program was started. The beneficiaries here are children less than 6 years, pregnant and lactating women, women in reproductive age group, and the adolescent girls. Services that were provided under the ICDS were supplementary nutrition in the preschool group, that is a non-formal education, immunization, health checkup, referral services, nutrition and health education. Then administration of the scheme was under the community development blocks in rural areas and tribal blocks in the tribal areas. In urban areas, we have the wards and the slum. Okay. So roughly for a population of 400 to 800 in urban areas, we have one Anganwadi center, and we don't have any mini Anganwadi center here in urban areas. In rural areas, again for a population of 400 to 800, we have one Anganwadi center, and for a population of 150 to 400, we have mini Anganwadis in rural areas. In tribal areas, for a population of 300 to 800, we have one Anganwadi and 150. Okay, for a population of 150 to 300, we have a mini Anganwadi. So here you can see in tribal areas, even if we have 150 to 300 population, so you can see it's little less than the rural and the urban areas. So 150 to 300, we have a mini Anganwadi. So about the organization of ICDS, it's under the Department of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Human Resource Development at the central level. Then we have Department of Social Welfare at the state level. Then we have the district level. Under him, under this level, that is the district level, we have CDPO for who is responsible for 100 villages. Then under him we have a medical officer who is responsible or who takes care of 20 to 25 villages. We have Mukhya Sevika for 20 to 25 Anganwadi centers. Then we have multi-purpose workers who takes care of 4 to 5 Anganwadi centers. Then we have an Anganwadi worker. Okay, and so this is the organization of ICD. Supplementary nutrition. So supplementary feeding and growth monitoring. So I was telling you these are few of the important important things that are under ICDS. So you're giving the supplementary feeding, you're going to monitor the growth, you're going to give prophylaxis against this, vitamin A deficiency, control of nutritional anemia. So whatever we have discussed, so most of them are under ICDS now. Okay. The activities under ICDS, so we've already discussed the feeding, growth monitoring, vitamin A deficiency, then nutritional anemia. So where the target group has to be identified from the community. Then they have provided with the supplementary, the feeding, okay, the supplementary feeding to support for 300 days in a year. Weight for age growth cards are maintained for all these children less than 6 years. The severely malnourished children are given special supplementary feeding and referred to medical services. So about the supplementary feeding, I told you, depending on the children in different age groups and their nutritional status, these are the calories and the proteins that has to be provided. That is, children from 6 to 72 months, calories of 500 kilocalorie and protein 12 to 15 grams. If they are malnourished in the same age group, then you're giving extra calories, that is 800 kilocalories and 22 around 20 to 25 grams of protein. In pregnant and lactating mothers, you're giving 600 kilocalories and 18 to 20 grams of protein per day. Okay. Wheat-based nutritional program. It's a centrally sponsored program launched in 1986. It was implemented by Ministry of Women and Child Development, and here providing nutritious energy food to children below 6 years of age and expectant and lactating mothers from these disadvantaged sections were included in this program. So again, this was implemented through ICDS. The food grains supplied under the program were used to prepare food for supplementary nutrition under ICDS. Nutritional program for adolescent girls. So this was started in the year 2002 with 100% central assistance. The aims of this program were to improve the nutrition and health status of these adolescent girls, to provide nutrition and health education to the beneficiaries, to empower these adolescent girls through increased awareness to take better care of their personal health and nutritional needs. The beneficiaries that were included were adolescent girls who weighed less than 35 kgs and pregnant women who weighed less than 45 kgs. Services that were being provided were 6 kg ration per month for 3 consecutive months was being given, and again this was implemented through the Anganwadi centers which were under the ICDS. So you know ICDS is Integrated Child Development Scheme. Midday Meal Program. So it was first started in Tamil Nadu, also known as School Lunch Program. So here the program was in operation since 1961 and it was under the Ministry of Education. So the aim was to provide at least one nourishing meal to school going children per day. So mainly the objective of this program was to improve the school attendance, to reduce the school dropouts and have a beneficial impact on the child's nutrition. Now coming to the principles. So the main principle here was to supplement the diet and not substitute to the home diet, and to supply at least 1/3 of the energy requirement and half of the protein needed. The cost of the meal had to be kept reasonably low, and the meal could be prepared easily in school. That is, no complicating cooking procedures had to be involved. And the food items that were used, that is usually the locally available foods should be used, and the menu that was being prepared here had to be frequently changed. So these were the few principles on which the midday meal program was which was there. Okay. So the next important one is the midday meal scheme. So this was the national program of nutritional support to primary education. So this was a centrally sponsored scheme which started on 15th August 1995. It was again revised in 2004. Now moving to the objectives of the scheme. The objective was universalization of primary education by increasing enrollment, retention and attendance, and simultaneously impacting on nutrition of these students in this primary class. So this program originally covered children of primary class, okay, that is class 1 to 5 in government, local body and government aided schools, and was extended in October 2002 to cover children studying in Education Guarantee Scheme and alternative and innovative education centers. Okay, so these were the schools that were benefited by this midday meal scheme. Now, the central assistance that was provided to states under this program was by free supply, okay, that the central government was giving free supply of food grains from a nearest Food Corporation of India godown. Okay. So they were giving it at a rate of 100 grams per student per day, and subsidy for transport of these food grains was also being provided by the central government. And again the objective here was to cook, okay, a cooked midday meal with that was being provided, okay, that was with a minimum of 300 calories, and to provide, okay, it had to provide 300 calories and 8 to 12 grams of protein, okay, to all the children from class 1 to 5. There were few suggestions that had to be followed for preparation. Okay, so few suggestions to for the preparation of these nutritious meals, and they had to be economically prepared also. Okay, to take into account the nutrition as well as the cost of these food. So few of these points are: the food grains had to be stored in a place away from moisture in an airtight container to avoid any infestation. The next important point is uh, that they had to use whole wheat or broken wheat, that is the dalia, for preparing these midday meals. Then usually the rice that was used has to be parboiled or the unpolished rice. Then the next important point was single dish meals had to be provided. Okay, that is usually using the broken wheat or rice and having some pulse with it, green leafy vegetables, oil. So with all this we could prepare some single dish meals which could be nutritious and economically also it was, or you can say it was more of cost effective. Okay, so the meal that was prepared was cost effective. Then the cereal pulse combination also was emphasized on, that is this combination is necessary to have good quality protein. And again the cereal pulse combination could be at least 3 is to 1 or 5 is to 1. Next, about the sprouted pulses. Okay, they said that sprouted pulses have more nutrients and had to be included. Next, the leafy vegetables when added should be thoroughly washed before cutting, and it should be cleansed before using them. Then soaking of rice. So soaking was another important thing that was told. That is soaking of rice, dal, Bengal gram should be done. So what would happen is that uh, first we need to wash these grains well and then soak it in enough quantity, or you can say just sufficient quantity of water, so that you don't need to discard excess water. So sometimes if rice water is left, that could be used or it could be mixed with dal and not thrown away. Then the other important things that were mentioned were, or you can say the most important point is again fermentation. Fermentation improves nutritive value. So we could advise more of idli, dosa or dhokla. Then cooking should usually be done with the lid closed. Overcooking again should be avoided. Reheating of oil used for frying is harmful and that should not be done. Then leafy tops of vegetables like carrot, radish, turnips should not be thrown and they should be utilized in the cooking. And again an important point, that is iodized, only the iodized salt has to be utilized. So we have already discussed about the iodized salt and that has to be used for cooking. A few other programs, that is the applied nutritional program. So this was one of the earliest, or you can say the earliest nutritional program. The objectives of these programs were promoting production and protective foods such as vegetables and fruits, ensure the consumption by pregnant and lactating women and children. In 1973, it extended to all states in India. The services that were provided was nutritional education, and the other important point was the nutrition worth 25 paisa for children and 50 paisa for pregnant and lactating women for 52 days in a week was being provided. And the program was maintained by Ministry of Rural Development. So mainly here it was to grow your own fruits and vegetables. Summary. So, in today's class, we have seen national nutritional programs. We seen them under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, that is National Prophylactic Program for Prevention of Blindness due to Vitamin A Deficiency. Then National Nutritional Anemia Prophylaxis Program. Then we see National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program. So in these programs we see especially in the vitamin A deficiency program, we see giving vitamin A high doses, that is 2 lakh international units to children above 1 year, and below 1 year 1 lakh international units, and this is given every 6 months. So again in nutritional anemia prophylactic program, so in this prophylaxis, so in nutritional anemia prophylaxis we have seen that we need to give iron and folic acid tablets to mother and children. Then we have seen in National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program, especially this program, in this program we have seen the use of iodized salt. Okay. Then under Ministry of Social Welfare, we have seen special nutrition program, Balwadi nutrition program, then ICDS, that is Integrated Child Development Service Scheme. Then under Ministry of Education, we have seen midday meal program. Then Ministry of Human Resource Development, we have seen midday meal scheme. Then under Ministry of Rural Development, we have seen the applied nutritional program. So these were our programs that we seen today.